Today I want to talk about why you should not level your frets, or at least the steps that you should take before jumping to the level. Now this will save you a ton of time and it will save the life of your frets. I'm Dave with Stringing It Together, and let's dive in. So this will be a broad picture overview of what I do before taking any material off the frets. Now I have an entire course called Foolproof Fretwork, which you can download in the description below for free, and that'll go into in depth for each detail and the diagnostics for each step, which is the most important. But for right now, I'm just going to give you a broad overview of the steps that I take to avoid taking material off the frets. Now, this may be obvious, but the reason you want to avoid taking material off the frets is because as you play your guitar, it's going to wear it down. Eventually, you're going to have to replace those frets if you play them enough, and the more material you take off, the sooner that's going to be. So it's to save you from doing work in the future by knowing what to do now. So first is figuring out whether it's the actual frets that are causing the issue, like your fret buzz. And I won't get into too many details, but it could be the truss rod, it could be the actions just too low for it could be the type of strings, it could be a warped neck, not enough relief. There's a lot of things, and again, I'll go into more detail with the course if you download that, but I want to keep this tightly focused. So let's say you've found a high fret with your fret rocker. Okay, you put it down flush, it rocks, you know that fret's high. So the first thing you want to do is check to see if that fret is seated properly. Now, so the fret wire looks like that. It's sort of shaped like a mushroom, and this part the tang goes inside the fret slot, and as you can see, there's little barbs there, and those are what stick into the wood. So sometimes that wood can dry out, and then those barbs are no longer biting into the wood, and that fret has popped up. So that can be one issue. So I tend to rely on my eye a lot to take a look and see if that fret's popped up. But you can also use this thing here, which is called a feeler gauge, and that just is for like feeling gaps, and you can stick that underneath the fret and see if it's popped up. So in that case, I would go to a hammer. Now, I have this tool here, which I use as an easy way for hammering down frets. You can see that in this video here, or again, this will be detailed in the course. Now, this is sort of an easy way to hammer down that fret and get the barbs to bite. Now, if after that step it's still popping back up, then you know that you need to glue it down because it's not going to seat properly. You also have the option of taking that fret out and putting a new one in. I typically like to glue it, and since I'm making this channel for people who are just guitar players, not guitar techs, it's easier to glue it than to take it out and put in a new one, I would say, for if you're just starting out. So that's the next step. And again, you're going to use super glue, you're going to press it down, and then by pressing it down, you're leveling it with the frets beside it. So when you take that glue off, you might have fixed the issue. So only if the fret is seated properly will I go to the level, because if you run that level across a fret that's not seated properly, it's going to pop down, and then when the level's off, it's going to pop back up. So you're going to get a false level, you're going to take material off, and then when you go to play it, guess what? It's buzzing again. So only when you followed all of those steps do you level your frets. And even when you followed all those steps, I don't just take a level and go across all of them. I do one at a time. And if you want a more detailed idea of this, then download that course. It's free, and it's sort of like the first steps, I would say, for setting up your guitar. Your guitar is kind of a balancing act between a variety of different things, and leveling the frets is the first step for that. So that's why it's my introductory course. Now, hopefully you found that helpful, and that's all for now. I'll see you next week.